billion plus dollars more on K-12 education is not insignificant. I would argue it's not chump change. Every district in Ohio gets more money. Every district in Ohio is going to see the benefits of this. The Senate's plan builds on stability that was in the last budget, and it moves Ohio towards a formula that actually funds school districts and funds kids. Remember, in Ohio, our goal is to fund kids, not buildings, not teachers, not adults. It's to fund kids. And this plan does that, and it does it quite effectively. Even though my home school district apparently doesn't get as much under our plan as other plans. The final plan. Thanks, Senator Widener.
And do you have any message? Obviously, as usual, there's going to be some districts who are going to be disappointed they didn't get more.
I don't know many districts that are going to. Yeah, I mean, as Senator Coley said, more is not a quantifiable number. Mm-hmm. Every district wants more. I think every district got what they need. And from that perspective, look, districts who are losing student enrollment, who are getting a lot more in local revenue, ought to anticipate that at some point their state revenues are going to adjust for that. And that's not an unreasonable position to be in. This budget postpones that, but the whole concept of guarantees and caps distort money going to kids. And we're for money going to kids. And this ended up being a much better proposal than what some of the other options were.
Do you know where you landed on the number of districts on the caps and guarantees?
It was similar to where the Senate was. I think it went up a little bit, but not much.
And it's 930 million more.
Oh, it's more than that.
Than the last budget, or more?
No, it's more than the last biennium. We're comparing bienniums to bienniums. So yeah, I guess it was the last budget. So I think it's actually a little over $1 billion when you added the straight A fund money in, when you added the extra $40 million we had to put in to make for the changes in the enrollment estimates. So right there is $70 million more. I think we were at $935 million in the Senate. So I'm $1.5 billion. I'm just doing off the top of my head math. Verify the LSC numbers, but.
Okay, and you're including the straight A.
I just know what else was. That's K-12 education.
Yeah. Okay.
And then there were several other places we added money as well. So.
Okay. I just want to make sure I understand the Medicaid changes that the conference agreed to in terms of the expansion, which that was not. I mean, that remained what the administration had.
Well, we changed it a little bit. There were some other provisions that were put in there. I urge you to talk to Senator Burke on the nuances of all the Medicaid changes. He's our Medicaid expert, and I always try and direct to members when we can, so I would encourage you to talk to Senator Burke about those differences. But the big issue on Medicaid, on the, I think it's Group 8, I always get this wrong.
The expansion population.
Look, what we did was continue to fund at the state share when the feds are paying 100% of the money. When the money goes to the state paying more, we anticipated that the administration is going to have to do that out of savings, no more GRF dollars. Now we put a fund together in case that isn't workable, but we anticipate that Medicaid savings should pay for that expansion cost when the state has to pay a bigger share of that Medicaid expansion. And we think that's the right policy. We've said all along that if this Group 8 population is included, we ought to be able to cover more people for less money. And we're heading towards covering more people for less money, and that's one of the ways for us to make sure we get there.
So that we don't have to, maybe we can avoid a gaggle later. Can you just speak generally?
Sure.
Can you speak generally to your thoughts on the